Mutants! Some mutants are good and some not so much. All mutants, however, possess great powers and abilities. Something comic readers have grown accustomed to keeping up with the X-Men on paper are mutant power level classifications. From weakest to strongest, we have Epsilon, Delta, Gamma, Beta, Alpha, and the well-known Omega level. In this video, we're going to be talking about the latter, the most powerful of all mutant kind. Defined properly and definitively in Jonathan Hickman's 2019 House of X, there were initially 14 confirmed Omega level mutants, which has effectively grown into a list of 25. And even though this list will continue to change and grow over time, let's take a look at and rank every current Omega level mutant. And I said current, so sorry Franklin Richards. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into it. We begin our list with two newer and lesser known mutants, Idyll and Idyll III. Father and daughter respectively, they both possess the ability of precognition, allowing them to see visions of future events. Idyll, known as the High Mutant Prophet, was blinded by a vision in which he saw his sentient home island, Arakko, fall to the dark, eldritch world, Amenth. His daughter, Idyll III, known as the Future Seer, would unfortunately have her tongue removed and meet her demise at the hands of Tarn The Uncaring and Isca The Unbeaten. Not known for many notable feats, rather powerful in their abilities of seeing the future, Idyll and Idyll III rank lowest on our list. Wielder of the Alluvium Blade, Redroot is considered the voice of Arakko and embodies her as a living forest. A botanopath, Redroot possesses the ability to communicate with flora, plants, and the earth. She's also able to rot any organic material or substance. Incredibly slow and barely able to keep up at a fast walking pace, Redroot is a pure-blooded mutant with ties to nature. Redroot the Forest has yet to reveal the full extent of her powers. Lodus Logos is a member of the Great Ring of Arakko and is responsible for art, song, and poetry on the island. With the ability to speak metal creations into existence, Lodus can create unlimited amounts of metal using simply his words. Instead of constructing giant monuments and weaponry, Lodus prefers to create small items, such as daggers. With only a handful of appearances in the comics, mostly that of him seated as a member of the Great Ring of Arakko, Sobunar possesses oceanic blood, meaning his body contains an entire marine biological system that replenishes itself. Large in scale, every pun intended, and coming from a long line, there's another one, of aquatic mutants, Sobunar would prove quite formidable in combat. Lactuca The Knower, another member of the Great Ring, possesses the power of spatial awareness. They have the ability of knowing the precise location of everything everywhere at all times. Whether this ability applies solely to their own universe or to the multiverse as a whole remains unknown. Yet another member of the Great Ring, Nameless the Shapeshifter Queen, was also the acting regent of Arakko. Although not much is known about Nameless, we do know that her powers consisted of alteration and mimicry. Not only was she able to copy mutant appearances and powers, she reflected her foes in their prime. This implies that she had the potential of not only matching, but one-upping whoever's abilities that she copied. I am speaking the past tense when it comes to Nameless, as she is currently, and recently, deceased. Once sitting at the seat of law, the extremely disliked Uqesh the Bridge was challenged and defeated by Ora Serrata. You see, Uqesh possesses the ability to summon gods. Any god, anytime, with or without their willingness. After summoning 30 squabbling and self-serving gods to head the Council of Arakko, leading to the near demise of their civilization, Uqesh was challenged by Ora and defeated. Sentenced to life-sustaining dismemberment, Uqesh is just ahead now and is used as a tool to weed out any rogue gods who might plague Arakko. Unafraid of going to war when deemed necessary, Ora is capable of erasing anything she looks at from existence. A vicious prosecutor and the final arbiter of law, Ora has shown some weakness in the past. Naturally, if Ora's eye is damaged, her abilities become null and void. On top of that, some entities are so powerful themselves that they're completely unaffected by her gaze, as seen in her confrontation with the eternal Uranos. Formerly a member of the anti-mutant group the Reavers, Josh Foley would ironically acquire powers of his own. Not only would he come to realize his true nature, he would also become one of the most powerful mutants ever known, Elixir. Biokinetic, Elixir is capable of controlling biological structures at the genetic level, meaning he can instantly heal himself and others. This includes resurrection. Furthermore, as his powers have developed, Elixir can use them for harm, able to infect people with diseases or shut down someone's organs in an instant. Xilo, the first defender of the Broken Land, is a mutant that lives in the form of an insect collective. Able to appear as one being or separate into innumerable tendrils, Xilo has the ability to replenish and replace body parts. This has allowed him to live for thousands of years. Pivotal in the reconstruction of Mars, Xylo's terraforming abilities allow him to form rock into the shape of his liking. He's able to alter soil, supplying it with new and unnatural nutrients, minerals, and elements. An original member of the X-Men, Bobby Drake is one of the most familiar mutants in all of Marvel history. Iceman, over time, has cultivated his powers and grown into an Omega-level mutant. Controlling temperature and moisture, he is able to encase his body in ice, not only as a shield but to keep himself alive if need be. He's also able to create unbreakable ice constructs, which he can increase the temperature of, melting them if need be. Using moisture to augment himself into any form of any size, Iceman can also merge with large masses of water molecules, effectively using them for teleportation. He can even create sentient ice clones of himself to help out in a scrap. Effectively immortal, it was discovered that Iceman could live forever if he so desired. If his body were to get destroyed, he could simply create a new one out of all the moisture floating around in the atmosphere. Wife of Apocalypse and sister of Isca the Unbeaten, who we'll talk about in just a second here, little is known about Genesis's mutation. What her abilities are exactly have yet to be specified. However, she has been deemed even more powerful and fit than her husband. A tremendous combatant and the only candidate able to defeat the Dark God Annihilation one-on-one, Genesis also seems to possess the powers of chlorokinesis. This enables her to control all plant life within her vicinity. Sister of Genesis, Isca the Unbeaten is, well, unbeaten. Possessing the uncanny ability of unbeatability, no matter what, Isca cannot be defeated. In combat, in a foot race, a feat of strength, a bet, a vote, one-on-one in a game of Halo, Isca wins. Always.
Double kill.
Whether her victory comes fair and square at the behest of her own physical attributes, or whether it comes by way of friendly interference, luck, or happenstance, Isca remains undefeated. Although this ability seems like an OP cheat code, this does not mean that Isca is inevitable or immortal. If winning means Isca must sacrifice herself or perish, she will do so. Benet du Perry was a nobleman born in medieval France. Sent to fight in the Holy Crusades, his telekinetic mutant powers were awakened. After a visit from the Phoenix Force and being tampered with genetically at the hands of Apocalypse, du Perry became Exodus. One of the most powerful mutants alive, Exodus is described as a psionic of the highest order. With telekinetic flight, healing, force fields, concussive blasts, and intuitive aptitude, Exodus's mutant abilities only seem to get stronger when others around him show faith and confidence in his powers. Long-lost brother of Cyclops and Havoc, Gabriel Summers, aka Vulcan, is not only a mutant, but was accelerated at birth by Shi'ar technology. Sent to Earth with little to no memory remaining, Gabriel would be adopted by Moira McTaggart, and she would go on to help him cultivate his energy absorption and manipulation abilities. Possessing the powers of flight, energy blast, detection, healing, and power siphoning, Gabriel is by far the most powerful of the Summers boys. A user of magic, this mutant daemon hybrid, Tarn the Uncaring, was one of the most ruthless mutants in all of Marvel. A sadist of the highest order, he delighted in nothing more than tormenting and perverting his victims. Recently, Tarn not only vanquished Vulcan, but did so handily, snapping his arm with ease and bashing his head in mercilessly. Able to manipulate DNA and biology with his mind, Tarn also possessed telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, and superhuman strength. Unfortunately for Tarn, he was tricked into a battle with Magneto after Isca was tricked into betting against him. Magneto went on to use his helmet to stifle Tarn's powers before squashing his head. Aurora Monroe, codenamed Storm, is an iconic fan favorite of the X-Men franchise. A fierce leader of multiple teams of heroes, Storm has not only become the Queen of Wakanda, but she is also considered a deity by many across all of Africa. A descendant of a long line of sorceresses, her inherent power has been stated as being incalculable. Storm has even been deemed worthy of wielding Mjolnir, becoming the goddess of thunder in actuality. With all sorts of weather and nature-based powers, such as lightning, atmospheric manipulation, thermal variance, energy vision, and flight, Storm also possesses expert combat skills and is proficient in most forms of weaponry. A staple in nearly every adaptation of the X-Men, Storm has fought against and with almost any Marvel hero or villain that you could possibly think of. Generally the first name that comes to mind when discussing most powerful mutants, Magneto is a timeless character who has been an integral part of Marvel history. The master of magnetism and leader of many groups, most famously the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and the Acolytes, Magneto has also fought alongside the X-Men on numerous occasions. Widely considered one of the greatest supervillains of all times, in recent years Magneto has put his differences with Charles Xavier aside, focusing their energy on establishing a new mutant society. An adaptable survivor to his core, from World War II era Germany to battles in the cosmos, sporting his iconic helmet which prevents telepaths from entering his mind, Magneto is as impressive in capability as he is in feats. Developing control over all energies across the electromagnetic spectrum, Magneto's powers include, but are not limited to, control over all forms of magnetism, manipulation of all metal, magnetic force fields, magnetic flight, magnetic rays. He's even moved mountains and can sense metallic structures light years away. Yeah, you can understand why he's so high on this list. Epsilon Mercator, simply known as Mr. M, is a mysterious and shifty mutant with almost godlike abilities. So much is unknown about this character other than that he likes to keep to himself. A manipulator of matter, Mr. M has complete control over the atomic and subatomic structures of matter and energy. This means that he can create essentially anything out of virtually nothing. He can even advance the process of evolution on a whim, although he cannot time travel or manipulate reality. Kevin McTaggart, son of Moira McTaggart, possesses the ability to warp realities. Easily burnt out by the vastness of his powers, Kevin, aka Proteus, is in need of multiple host bodies to sustain himself. Proteus can teleport and shift between realities throughout the known multiverse. He can manipulate molecules in any way that he desires, and was able to rid the surface of Mars from all radioactivity. James Braddock Jr. was a successful and handsome financial whiz and a race car driver turned criminal. Assisting his brother, Captain Britain, on occasion, Braddock would be kidnapped by Dr. Crocodile. Crocodile then went on and conducted trials and experiments on Braddock that not only rendered him insane, but aided in awakening his reality warping powers, transforming him into Monarch. Monarch can transform reality and has duplicated people, things, and even timelines out of nothing. Son of Professor X, David Haller, codenamed Legion, has become known as possibly the most dangerous mutant in the Marvel Universe. Possessing unprecedented powers, unfortunately, Legion is clinically insane. Over 200 mutants, along with their unique individual powers, aliases, and characteristics, live inside of Legion's mind, ranging from a terrorist leader called Jamail to an obese, lonely superwoman named Sally. Legion's mind is infinitely trapped inside an overpopulated sea of powerful mutants. It has been suggested that Moira McTaggart and Professor X had genetically engineered Legion's birth. At a young age, he was diagnosed with autism and began unwillingly absorbing people's minds as a child. So it's no shock that Legion developed such intense and chaotic power. Completely uncontrollable, Legion remains a wild card and will likely stay that way for the foreseeable future. The first mutant born after the events of M-Day, the adoptive granddaughter of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, Hope Summers has yet to reach her full power potential. Originally known as the Messiah Baby with the ability to copy and manipulate the powers of any mutant within close proximity, Hope does not need to actually make physical contact with those whose powers she's copying. Hope would ultimately prove to be so powerful that when uttering the words "No More Phoenix," she went ahead and reversed the events of House of M, restoring the entire mutant race back to the way it was, which is no small feat. Quintavious Quirinius Quire, known as Kid Omega, which is just a super fun name to say by the way, is a telepathic mutant who has yet to reach his full potential. A naturally skilled telekinetic, described as yet another psionic of the highest order, Kid Omega has vastly surpassed the abilities of all other known telepaths. Befitting of the name, this Omega-level telepath at one point even evolved into a disembodied consciousness that connected itself to every sentient being on Earth, which is all kinds of trippy. At one point, Kid Omega got a glimpse of his future self, confirming that he will eventually host the Phoenix Force. However, until that day comes, the fiery entity and title of most powerful Omega-level mutant lies in the hands of the #1 entry on this list. Marvel Girl, Phoenix, or Jean Grey. Regardless of what you call her, she is one of the most iconic Marvel characters in X-Men history. Canonically presented as the most powerful Omega-level mutant ever encountered, Jean's powers have been deemed limitless in potential. Flying, moving objects, reading minds, these are all things that Jean mastered before the Phoenix Force was even just a glint in the writer's eye. Having her powers suppressed during her youth, as well as manually by Professor X, Jean has also claimed that the Phoenix Force sometimes holds her back from tapping into the full depths of her abilities. While utilizing the Phoenix Force, Jean's empathic, telepathic, and telekinetic powers are greatly amplified. She's able to travel through the vacuum of space and cross interstellar distances faster than the speed of light. She's also been granted access to the White Hot Room, home and afterlife of the Phoenix Force. From losing her mind and decimating entire planets to saving the universe on multiple occasions, Jean continues to unlock the vastness of her mind. With or without the Phoenix Force, Jean Grey unquestionably belongs at the top of this list. And that was our incredibly long list. Do we forget anyone? Let us know in the comments below or go ahead and shoot me a response over on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe to CBR for more great videos just like this in the future.